Hello friends, welcome back to the bench. Thank you very much for joining me. Now today we have quite a challenge. This is a server board. As you can see, memory sticks on both sides, so that's a 2011 socket. I'm not sure if it's 2011, 2011-1, 2 or what have you. It doesn't really matter because the customer gave us the replacement socket. So I think I have some 2011s in stock though, but 2011-2 I think. So let's see. First, let's see what is the state of the socket, just out of curiosity. And obviously we have to disassemble the board. It slides out like this, very nice. It's spring-loaded, which is awesome because usually with regular sockets, the damage often is caused by this bracket just falling down, and often the CPU drop and stuff like that. So let's see, how do we disassemble this? Okay, looks like the disassembly is really easy. Now let's take a look under the scope. Okay, the damage is actually not that great. There's a few pins mangled. Oh, I think there's a missing pin over here. That's why it's here. I'm not sure though. There's some mangling over here. And maybe there's another missing pin over here. And I think another missing pin over there. So if there's missing pins, then obviously the only option is to replace. Actually, I've seen a few of you guys repairing missing pins by actually soldering pin onto the pin, and it worked. So it could be done, but it's a surgical procedure. Now, just to give you an idea of what the size we're dealing with over here, the socket is over 82 millimeters wide, so that's more than 3 inches. And in the other direction, we got 62.5, roughly 62.6 almost millimeters, which is roughly 2.5 inches. So huge. I have never attempted replacing such a large socket, but I always wanted to try. Now the socket is larger than my heater, the top heater, but that's not a huge problem. That shouldn't be an issue in my view. There's also doesn't appear to be any capacitors around it, right? So we don't have to worry about blowing caps. There's not much to disassemble here. However, we do have to take off these heat sinks, because it's plastic pegs, so they would melt and just pop off. So let's do that right away. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase the distance between the heater and the board to spread the heat around. We're going to use the standard profile that I use for all the sockets, and we'll see how badly it's going to start warping. The board thickness is actually, the board thickness is pretty impressive. Looks like 2.3 millimeters. That's pretty big. Normally, the boards have anywhere from 1.5, 1.7, all the way to like 1.8, 1.9. This is 2.3. Very thick board, which is very good news, because thicker boards have a lot higher success rate for 2 reasons. Number one, they don't warp as much, or either very little or not at all. Number two, they retain a lot more heat, so the profile is a lot more stable. So we probably don't even need to bring it all the way to 218. It also looks like the outline is pretty good as well. We should be able to align it relatively easily. Now those little pegs, those little thingies go over the line, but the socket seems like it's sitting nicely on the line on each side. Well, it's actually a little bit it's going a little bit lower over the bottom line. So let's make a note of that. Yeah, so it looks like the left line and the right line are always visible, pretty much. Let's get it in the center. But the top and bottom lines are slightly covered by the socket. So with that knowledge, let's put it on the machine and let's see my first attempt at replacing 2011 socket. Alrighty, so that was interesting, exciting, and a little scary at the same time. So, what happened here? I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. I have never seen anything like this before. So, after I lifted the socket and set it to heating, so what is it, like 160 degrees at the bottom, so very mild temperature, just to keep the board hot, or actually warm, because that's a pretty low temperature. I started noticing more and more smoke coming from the heater, from the bottom of the heater. So at first I thought, that's kind of normal when there's vias and stuff and you pour the flux and you start wicking, the flux can drip on the heater and it smokes. But the smell was different. It didn't smell like flux burning. It smelled more like plastic, like something plastic is burning. So I figured, well, maybe there's something at the bottom of the board that is plasticky and it's just melting. But then again, why would it melt at 160 or whatever degrees? Right? It's a very low temperature. The plastic shouldn't, even the low melt plastic, it shouldn't start melting at that temperature. Not to the point where it would start dripping on the heater and actually burning. So I just kept going. I figured, well, what else can we do? right? The board didn't warp at all, right? It stayed completely flat, and it is not flimsy, so it's, you know, it would definitely be 100% success. No problems, no nothing. It took a little while to lift the socket, but no ripped pads, no problems wicking. By the way, the solder, that new solder, works so much better. And when I think about how much time I wasted using this crap, well, it's so much easier with this solder. But it started smoking more and more, and suddenly flame, suddenly a flame underneath. So first I blew it, and I thought, you know, maybe a little bit of plastic dripped on the heater. I probably should have stopped there. But for the first few seconds, I figured, well, maybe I just blew the flame, you know, put it out, and I continued. But then again, flame again and again. So finally, well, you've seen the footage. So I flipped the board, and I didn't look at it before, so I don't know if that's what it was. But you see those vias over here, it kind of seems like something from inside the board started oozing through those vias over here, and that something is kind of like, smells like plastic, and it started dripping on the heater, and it's flammable. I have never seen the board behave like this, so I'm thinking either the way the board is built, there's something inside that just kind of, I don't know, melts at certain temperatures, or the board was contaminated with something, but with what and how, who knows. Surprisingly, there's no damage from the flame, but that was just a couple seconds of the flame. But from on both sides, from these vias over here, we started oozing. It's black. I have, when I cleaned it, I have it here on the paper, right? It's something black. So it's definitely not flax. It doesn't smell like flax, and my flax is not flammable. Definitely not at those temperatures. But the flax is not flammable. Even if you overheat it, it'll smoke a lot, but it'll create a, you know, a residue, difficult to clean and stuff, but it will never catch actual flame. So I have no idea what happened here, and everything was going really well. Look at that, beautiful. Yeah, not everything is wicked like here, right? We would still have to wick over here, but like the majority over here, yeah, you could use like one more pass, maybe a couple more passes. No ripped pads, no nothing. So this would have been a really good success if it wasn't for this, whatever it was. Residue or something. Maybe the flax reacted with something. I have no idea. I've never seen anything like that before. Never happened. But on the other hand, this is the first 2011 we're working on. So this was technically an experiment. And since I don't see any damage to the board, like no warping or nothing like that. So technically we could put it back on the heater, heat it up again, wick it again, put the socket back on and solder it on. Technically we could do that, but I don't want to put it on my heater anymore, because now I'm gonna have to deal with the damage, and I don't know if my heater didn't take a hit and I'll need to replace it, which is really too bad, because I have a big stack of boards that I need to finish. So this is quite unfortunate. What do you guys think? What could it have been? Well, if you know, or you have some suspicions, drop them in the comments. I'm gonna write the customer now. Actually, I'm gonna publish the video first, then send the video to the customer, and I don't know, maybe the customer will know something, like maybe it was stored somewhere, or maybe it was had some flooding damage or something like that, or it was cleaned with some chemical after the flooding or something. No idea. That is crazy. I had an exciting Monday. Yeah, as they say, the professional does not start working on Monday. We start working on Tuesdays. It's from an old Polish movie. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Definitely drop some comments if you have any suggestions what went wrong here. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully no fire this time. Take care, guys.